Okay, now that we've handled the Cloudinary side of things, what we'll do now is we'll create a class for our new photo entity. And what we'll do in our domain project, we'll add another entity. So we'll say new C# class, and we'll call this, not surprisingly, photo. And our photo class is going to contain just three properties. We'll have a string for the ID, and the string for the ID that we'll use will be the public ID that we get back from Cloudinary. And we'll use that as our ID in this case. We'll also have a string for the URL, and we'll also have another property for isMain. So is this the user's main photo? And if it is, that's the one we're going to display that we'll return with the user object. That's the one we'll display for the attendee image, that kind of thing. And then what we'll do, we'll need to go to our app user class because our photos are going to have a relationship with our user object. And this is going to be a one-to-many relationship. So our app user can have many photos. And what we'll do is we'll say public I collection of type photo, and we'll call it photos. And then what we'll do, we'll head across to our data context, and inside here we'll also add a DB set for this as well, just in case we need to query the photo collection directly from our data context. So we'll say DB set photo, and we'll call it photos, and our table name will get its name from here. So what we can do now is we can go and add a new migration for this, and let's go to our .NET tab where we're running our API because we need to stop our API before we can add a new migration. So we'll see the upper level into the reactivities folder, and what we'll do, we'll say .NET EF migrations add, and we'll just give it a name of photo entity added, and we'll specify the project with our data context as persistence and our startup project as the API, and press return. And we get our migration successfully created, and let's go take a look at what this has given us. So we'll take a look at the new migration, make sure everything is okay. So we've got our new photos table, and we can see that we have our three properties, and we've also got a property for our app user ID. And then in our constraints, we've got our table primary key and also our foreign key with our relationship to our app user. And with this in place, we can then go ahead and restart our application. So we'll go into the API project and execute .NET watch run. And this will go ahead and create the new table to store our photos in. And that looks good. So what we'll do just as a final check is just make sure that we can see the new table in SQLite. So we'll open up the SQLite extension and say SQLite open database and choose our database and go back to Solution Explorer, and we'll check our database has the photos table along with the 4 columns that we'd expect. So that's looking good. And what we'll look at next is adding the photo handler to add a photo.